And welcome to Hilltoppers Toastmaster. Today is October the 24th, and I can just only say, oh my goodness, where has the time gone? This year is almost out of here. Tonight, we're going to talk about some of life challenges, and I tell you, that's one of the challenges for me is just where does the time go? Trying to not take any moments for granted, but staying present in the moment and not getting overworked up about the moment, like, the moments, where are they going? That's one of my life challenges. I am your Toastmaster for this evening, and I am excited to see all of you on, and we're going to move right into our meeting. And our meeting is broken down into three portions. The first portion is the prepared speeches, for which tonight we have two. The second portion of the meeting is one when everyone gets an opportunity to participate, and that is the table topics portion. And then finally, the third and final portion of our meeting is the evaluation portion. I'm going to take a few seconds. If everyone could just please, I would like to call on all of those who have a role tonight to get a quick understanding explanation of your role. So I will start with our timer. Bethany, can you tell us a little bit about your role this evening? And I see your colors are working, so those are cute. I could never get mine to work, so kudos to you.
Yeah, I just had to figure out how to work it, but my role tonight is the timer. So I'll be making sure that everyone is on time with their speeches and their different topics.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. And then we also have a grammarian and an all counter, and that's going to be Caleb tonight. Caleb, could you tell us a little bit about your role?
Sure, thank you, Olivia. My role as the grammarian and the all counter, or as the grammarian, I'll be tracking uses of the word of the day, which today the word is trope, a figurative or metaphorical use of a word or expression. And for the all counter, I will be listening for misuses of the English language or for ums, or other filler words that people might use as they're presenting. I know I'm especially guilty of using filler words, so I'm trying my best to listen for them in others to try to improve it in myself. Back to you, Olivia.
That is often a way to help improve yourself when you can hear it. You become more sensitive to listening to it first, and then it helps you to become more sensitive to saying it yourself. So very good. Next position or next role I would like to speak to is that of the general evaluator.
All right. As general evaluator, I will evaluate the meeting as a whole. And also I will be the speech evaluator for Wes's speech tonight. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. And let's see, who do we not call on? Definitely. Let's talk to the table topics master.
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, whatever perspective you have, it's you.
Oh, it's me?
Yeah.
Perfect. That's what happens when you don't look at the agenda ahead of time. Okay, so my role this evening as a table topics master is I have the pleasure of either calling on someone first or giving a question and letting someone volunteer. And I will try to make tonight's questions around the meeting topic, which is life challenges. It's a continuation of last week's meeting, so hopefully we are ready to continue from last week and then discuss some more of life's challenges. Back to myself. So I think that concludes all our roles this evening. And we do have the pleasure of having two prepared speeches. I don't know if either of you have a preference on who wants to go first. We have an 8 to 10 and a 5 to 7. And I'm just going to say, unless you guys have a preference, I'm going to request that Wes goes first. And Wes has been a table Toastmaster longer than he cares to count. Many, many years he has been in, I'm sorry, I just lost my, there we go. He has been a member of Toastmasters. He's held quite a few positions, including including club coach, which is what he is for us now. And tonight's speech will be the result of a project to invigorate Esprit de Corps in District 77 club coaches. And it's an 8 to 10 minute speech. Wes, without any further ado, you have the lectern. Now, don't forget you're on mute, Wes.
Before the timing actually begins, I'd like to say a few words. First, I'd like to welcome Tamara Hall, who is the current District 77 Program Quality Director. So we're quite privileged to have Tamara visiting us this evening. And last week, I gave a speech without the use of notes. But I'm reminded of of something I heard some time ago. There was a head monk at a monastery, and he was a past member of the Swiss Army. He was quite a prominent figure as head monk, and he was giving the monks instruction. He said, "If you want to attract power in your life, if you want to attract power," and he slammed his fist on a desk, and he said, "Practice humility." He's trying to illustrate a point. So I'm going to practice humility by referring to my notes. Today was a very interesting and lively day. So from this point on, I will begin. My speech is prepared in terms of paper, but not so much in terms of practice, but here I go. I'm Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. During the time that I served as the 2021-2022 Club Quality Chair, a major belief that I have was the solution of the problem of member retention was to develop a cadre of club coaches that would be knowledgeable to give coaching information to their membership, to develop those skills, help them to coach more effectively. To boost that training, I work to provide quality presentations every month by some very skilled Toastmasters, very top-level Toastmasters within the district. And I provided my personal notes of these presentations to the coaches. But I felt what was really needed was a sense of esprit de corps and camaraderie within the coaches themselves. And that way, my feeling is that the coaches will be in a position to want to help their members succeed as Toastmasters, as communicators and leaders. So this project was begin to develop investigative methods to develop team spirit within the coaches. Now, from a personal standpoint, I felt that a viable method of building team spirit was to help the club become a distinguished Toastmasters club. So I was working with my club, Hilltoppers. So what we did is we worked at becoming a distinguished club, because there are a number of reasons that becoming a distinguished club is important. It develops trust and confidence within the members. And you develop leadership skills in the meeting by performing certain roles. That helps you to develop leadership. Club members should be I was trying to encourage the club to work together for pathways, educational achievement, membership building, and officer training. In achieving club status, if you achieve club status, there's automatically a sufficient number of members within the club. And that's important because if you have these members as developing sufficient leadership qualities through program participation and that sort of thing, you already have a base of club members to work from as potential officers. Because if you don't have that, you just have a very thin membership base. The officers wind up exchanging roles when the next election time runs around. So to effectively address the issue of building team spirit and camaraderie, I enlisted the help of a high-performance leadership project, which consisted of a committee and a high-performance leadership action team. I was very privileged to have as my guidance committee 5-time member and past international director Susie Proctor and DTM Tom Hageman, and was equally fortunate to have DTM Jessica Silhavi and DTM Randy Cooper as my action team members. The primary questions raised by the HPL committee were incentives for coaches and qualifications for coaches. The HPL action team met multiple times to discuss issues to take specific action-oriented goals and work on them. Topics for discussion included incentives for coaches and club coach qualifications. Jessica drafted Google Doc forms for club presidents and club coaches. The form for the coach dealt with the performance of the coaches. The form for the coaches dealt with the success in meeting distinguished club program goals. I completed a form as a coach and as a president, and I submitted it to Jessica, but I've never gotten any feedback from that. Of course, she was quite busy with several different roles during last year. It was Randy's belief that to be an effective coach, one must be willing to work with people and adapt to different people. And he recommended that I contact all District 77 club coaches to find out how they achieve their success and bringing their clubs to distinguished club level. Of all the coaches, there were only 7 that achieved that distinction. I sent letters of inquiry out to all 7, but I only got 3 responses. I compiled the results of those responses and sent them out to the club coaches and club presidents. Randy was of the opinion that to be a coach, 2 pathways should be completed. And the potential coach should have a strong background in membership recruitment and retention. As the project progressed, I continued to work on putting together sets of documentation for the club coaches and sent them out to the coaches and club presidents. And I completed those forms for Jessica, but again, I've never gotten any feedback from that. I do believe, so I do not know how many club presidents and club coaches responded to Jessica's inquiry, but I'd be very interested to find that out in a lessons learned discussion, which will be held sometime in the weeks to come. I do believe that both Jessica and Randy believe that qualification concerns for coaches should begin at the area and division levels. The possibility of offering coach training as a TLI was also discussed. I do know that commitment is very important, either as a club member or at the highest level of leadership within a district. I'll give you an example. During August, see, I'm a member of the Military Writers Society of America. In fact, I'm working on a couple of books. We had our conference in New Orleans this past August. My role was enlisting veterans who might be interested in writing their own story, their own experience in the military as a part of a therapeutic measure. Now, there were many people who applied, but we only had room for 40 people. So when one of the 40 would drop out, I immediately filled it with another person. So I expected when the program began, when the workshop actually began, there would be 40 people. There weren't. There were only 24. The reason is, I believe, what I could have done, I could have asked for a definite commitment from the veterans. Had I done that, they would have been obligated to either show up or tell me that they couldn't show up, and I could have immediately filled the position. We would have had more veterans, I believe, had I asked for that commitment. So in conclusion, I believe that the methods of the action team had some merit and may have resulted in some significant progress. But that was difficult to measure in the absence of feedback from the presidents and the coaches that I have not been aware of. I do believe that part of the solution lies in having an enthusiastic team of club coaches. It's my recommendation that current Toastmasters leadership continue to investigate ways in which the esprit de corps can be implemented within the club coaches. And yes, in this endeavor, commitment is vital. I would like to thank distinguished Toastmasters Susie Proctor, Tom Hageman, Jessica Silhavi, and Granny Cooper for helping me in this project. Madam Toastmaster.
Very good, Wes. And one thing that I took from that we can carry on to all aspects of our life, and that is commitment is key. We have to be willing, even if it's not District 77, even if it's not Toastmasters, which I think if we're here, we all have some sort of commitment to Toastmasters, but there's got to be something in your life that you are committed to. So thank you very much, Wes, for that reminder. And with all your speeches, there is always something I can personally take away from them. So I appreciate your speech, and as always, your commitment to Toastmasters. Our next speaker for this evening is David. David has been a member of Toastmasters since 2019, if I'm correct. Is that about right, David? And his speech tonight is a 5 to 7 minute speech, and it is entitled Circular Problems. That sure is an interesting title. I cannot wait to hear it. Without any further ado, David, it's all yours.
Thank you, Olivia. And let me put in chat real quick. Okay. Circular problems. This has to do with my researching and presentations pathway project. The book that I used for my research was titled This is NATO. It is by Daniel Erickson. He has a YouTube channel called the Sleep Coach School. And I just put all that information in the little chat box. So if anybody's curious about him afterwards, you can look him up. Sleep. Sleep. Let me tell you about my sleep efforts, my story with sleep. Throughout my life, from the time I was a small child, off and on, I would have trouble sleeping. What would typically happen is I would have something would happen, I would be upset about something, and I would have a bad night of sleep. Well, the next night, even before I would go to bed, I would start worrying about it. I would start thinking, uh-oh, what if I can't sleep tonight? And then when I get in bed, I would worry about it more. And that worry would turn into anxiety. And then, of course, I could not sleep again because I was worried about being able to sleep. And that is an example of a circular problem. And it is thought to be the most common cause of insomnia. Daniel Erickson's solution to this is pretty simple. In a nutshell, he says that, hey, life is a journey. We should care about things, work hard, have fun, but do not become attached to the outcome. If I sleep, that's great. If I don't sleep, that's okay too. The example with sleep seems fairly simple, and it is, but there are a lot of subtleties to this. Our minds have so many tricks that they can play on us. Now, these tricks are trying to keep us safe, but they can backfire. They can become circular problems. I'll give you one example, forecasting. When I get up in the morning, my favorite thing to do is to turn on the morning news, and I love to watch John Nodar on Channel 5 give the weather forecast. Now, John may say this afternoon, it looks like we have an 80% chance of rain. There's clouds coming in. There's a cold front. We're going to get some rain. Well, guess what? Mother Nature does not care what John Nodar thinks. Mother Nature is going to do whatever she wants to do. John's forecast has zero impact on what the weather actually does. So that is not a circular problem. But where forecasting can become a circular problem is this example. You may have heard of Warren Buffett. He is one of the world's premier financial advisors, and he's, I think, one of the richest men in the world. Let's say Warren Buffett gets up one morning and goes on Twitter and says, I've been looking at things and I think the story they're telling us is wrong. I think we're in for a deep depression. The country is really going to suffer. What would happen during that day is the stock market would just drop because people pay a lot of attention to what Warren Buffett says. But in this example, forecasting something actually affects the outcome. And that is a circular problem because Warren Buffett thinks, Warren Buffett, maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong, but regardless, his forecast actually caused a situation. Now, this gets a little tricky. One thing you may be thinking is, I know, why don't I forecast that I'm going to have a good night of sleep? Actually, no, that doesn't work. The reason is if I forecast that I'm going to have a good night of sleep, that puts pressure on me to sleep. So when I go to bed that night, I'm going to think, okay, I said I'm going to sleep good tonight, and I wonder why I'm not asleep yet. And before I know it, I'm upset and I don't sleep again. So the solution is simply do not become attached to the outcome. And in this case, don't forecast at all. If I sleep good, that's great. If I don't sleep good, that's okay too. Let me conclude with saying this. You may have heard there's a popular saying about Olympic athletes. In the Olympics, they say it's 80% mental. It's 80% just in your head. When I first heard that, I thought, huh? These athletes work their entire lives. Their entire lives is nothing but preparation for this one moment. They train from the time they're small until they make the Olympic team. They get to the Olympics, and let's say in the case of a gymnast, she's ready to do her routine. She gets on the balance bars, and this next 30 seconds of her life will determine everything she's worked for. Every moment that she has done prior to this is so that she can win that gold medal. She's got cameras on her. Her parents are in the audience. Her coach is watching her. This is it. This is everything. If she messes this up, then it's all over. And okay, yeah, 80% mental. I cannot imagine the enormous pressure an Olympic athlete is under to perform. But the reason that sometimes they fall off the beam is because they become so attached to the outcome. It's a difficult thing. How can you not become attached to the outcome? This is so important. But it's a circular problem too. That attachment is what causes the problem. One other thing I just thought about. How about public speaking as a circular problem? Something to think about. We are all in our own Olympics. Life is important. Life is beautiful. Just don't let it become a circular problem. Don't get me wrong. Having goals is great. It's a necessary and good thing. There's no argument there. But do not become attached to the outcome. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, David. And I like that definition of those examples of a circular problem, and do not be attached to the outcome. I'm gonna have to work on that, because I always say I cannot let my legacy, I cannot leave a legacy behind as this or that. No, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, which is gonna come, it's gonna go right into our table topics portion tonight, talking about life challenges. We all suffer from those, and sometimes it's more difficult than others. And just like the moment you said that you were going to have a good night rest, I was like, no, that's gonna put stress on you. So yeah, that was I guess I was forecasting that that was going to be a stressful situation. And indeed, I see you agree. All right, thank you very much for your speech. We're going to move into our next portion, which is our table topics portion of the evening. And I will be your table topics master. So the first set of questions, I'm going to allow you to raise your hand and volunteer. But don't be nervous if I call your name first, because tonight we're going to be talking all about challenges. But the first question, I'm going to ask for a volunteer. And that question is, here in the South, some things are obvious. My challenge question for you all is, would you rather have the insects and the heat or the cold weather? What is a challenge that you rather face? Cold weather or the insects and the heat? Wes, take it away.
I love cold weather, colder weather. I'm from Michigan, so I relish in ice skating and cross country skiing and that sort of thing. I remember I gave a speech on ski jumping with cross country skis. It didn't work too well, but it was fun. But when I worked at the Naval Oceanographic Office, and I retired from that office. But you never complained if the inside of the ship was too cool, because you could always do something about that. But there's nothing you could do about if the ship was the inside was too warm. But I have no problem with colder weather. Sure, I mean, you put extra covers on, but I like the brisk feeling of cool air. I like taking walks in cool air. So I would definitely prefer the cooler weather to the insects and the heat and all that nonsense. Sorry. But I like swimming and all that, so sure. But I have no problem with cooler weather. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, Wes. Yeah, I know you were from Michigan, and I can see that you would like the cold weather versus the insects. Some people come to the South and they say some of the bugs we've had here, they've never seen. So yeah, you are, and I'm telling you, there are still times that I'm like, wait a minute, that's a whole new bug. I don't even know what family to put that in. So, but I agree with you. I am from the South, but I prefer the cold weather and no bugs. All right, next challenging question is, I am extremely competitive and will almost hurt myself to keep up, if not exceed my peers. Are you known for knowing your boundaries and staying within them, or do you push the envelope? Which is a challenge for you? Are you known for knowing your boundaries and staying within them, or do you push the envelope? Anybody wants to volunteer? I think I saw Miss Tamara's hand up. Okay, are you the Caleb? Okay, Tamara, I think your hand was up first. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Fellow Toastmasters, thank you, Table Topic Masters. That is a good one. And I want people to know that there is no award for being overworked, overbooked, or stressed out. There's no award at the end of that tunnel, because I've been through that tunnel. And let me tell you, it's definitely better to put up boundaries and to pace yourself with progress. Not perfection, but progress. That is my answer to that response. And I want to challenge you all to put up boundaries. It doesn't mean a lack of progress. Be encouraged and keep going. Because again, I've been down that road. Life is short. Enjoy. Inspire someone. Help someone. Allow people to help you. Usually you're not delegating. Usually you feel all alone. Usually you're letting someone else's opinion dictate your end goal. Show them something new. Show them success through planning, pacing, and not perfection. Because again, there's no award for the overwork. Thank you, Table Topic Master.
Very good. Thank you so much for that, Ms. Hall. And that is so true. There is no other than work more. I was just telling someone yesterday, wow, the same thing that'll get someone else promoted would get me fired, simply because people are so used to a certain level, a certain standard, and it becomes your standard. So now I remember many years ago, a person that was my level, if that person did something, it was always a group email. Oh, thank you very much. And I'm like, but I do that every day. You never tell me thank you. So you're right. The reward for working real hard and not having those boundaries is just more work. So, but yeah, I am extremely competitive. So sometimes I am one of those that will hurt myself trying to keep up. My next question is a little bit of an icebreaker, and some may find it a trope, but it is not. So I want to know, is it more of a challenge for you to use off-brand tissue or off-brand cheese? Which one is more of a life challenge? Off-brand tissue or off-brand cheese? Go ahead. Look at Caleb shaking his head. I think you want to answer it. Off-brand tissue or off-brand cheese? Caleb, are you accepting the challenge?
Oh, sorry, my headset was muted separately. Thank you, Olivia. I can't answer this. I believe it'd be more of a challenge to have, if I'm understanding correct, or my table topics question was whether or not it's more of a challenge to have off-brand tissue or off-brand cheese.
Yes.
And
which one is tough for you?
I would have to say, without fitting too much into the trope of being a particular scientist, it has to be off-brand cheese, because if I'm cooking something or if I'm trying to make something and it's not the brand I'm used to, or if it's a off brand in some way that I'll convince myself in my head that it's worse than what I'm normally used to getting, and then it would just ruin the entire dish for me. But I can get by on off-brand tissue, and I'll just power through any poor tissues that I have. But off-brand cheese is a no-go because I feel like it's ruined my recipe. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Caleb. I tell you, that would have been a hard question for me to answer because I am not uppity about many things, and I don't eat much cheese because I stay away from dairy. But if I'm going to eat cheese, it has to be a cheese that I know is some good cheese, and I'm the same way about my tissue. All right, moving on to the next question. The time is 7:28, so we have about 2 more minutes maybe before we move into our next portion of the meeting. So we're going to get a little bit more serious here. So this question is, and I'm still asking anyone that wants to answer, is it more of a challenge for you to ask for permission or to ask for forgiveness? Which one is easiest for you to do? Ask for permission or ask for forgiveness? Okay, I'm going to answer it myself. I just can't let it go. All right. So the question that was posed is, which is more of a challenge, to ask for permission or ask for forgiveness? And I think for me, I know for me, the biggest challenge is to ask for permission. I just have this, no way do I think I know everything. There is so much more about life that I don't know. But if someone is not around immediately to answer the question that I have, I figure it out. And maybe sometimes to my own, I hate to say demise, but to my own setback, I will jump in and figure it out. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm not. But I have no problems with asking for forgiveness. I will come on bended knee, please forgive me, and I won't do it again, but you better be around, because if you're not there to answer the question, Olivia's going to try her best to figure it out. That's my answer for that challenge question. And I think, well, yeah, the time is now 7:30, so I guess we will close out our table of topics portion, and we will move into the next portion of the meeting. Wes, I see your hand was raised.
I just wanted to welcome Toastmaster Dana.
Yes.
I wanted to welcome Dana Lackey. He's the current Division B director, and it was nice of him to stop by and join us this evening.
Absolutely, thank you. We're so glad that you are here with us. All right, we're moving on into our next portion of the meeting, which is our evaluation. And since we have 2 speeches that need to be evaluated, we will start with those first. So our first speech was given to us by Wes. And I think, Wes, your speech evaluator is Maurice.
Yes.
Go ahead. Thank you, Maurice.
Yeah, I evaluated Wes's speech, and it was entitled Results of a Project to Invigorate Esprit de Corps in District 77 Club Coaches. And the purpose of this project that he had is for him to demonstrate his or her skills as a leader and a public speaker. And he shared some more aspects of his experience. So I'll go to the general comments. He excelled at outlining and demonstrating his role as leader over the District 77 Club coaches. He also made quite an impact over the people under his leadership. You may want to work on just a little more vocal variety and to challenge yourself, continue growing in communication and creativity and presenting speech projects. Next, I will go to the evaluation form. Clarity. He had great clarity in spoken language. It was clear and easily understood. Vocal variety. He used some vocal variety. Eye contact. He kept his eye on the camera through most of the speech. Gestures. I saw quite a few gestures. Audience awareness. I assumed that he was aware of the audience's reaction to his speech. Comfort level, he always appears comfortable during his speech with notes or without notes. Interest, I believe the audience was engaged with interesting, well-constructed content. And the topic, he communicated aspects of the impact, process, or other substantial parts of the project on how the coaches responded to his leadership, and I'm pretty sure it improved their coaching, their success in coaching. So that is my evaluation for Wes's speech. And now at this time, we'll go to Carrie and she'll evaluate David's speech.
All right, thank you very much, Maurice, for that evaluation. And we did have 2 speeches tonight, so our next speech evaluator is Carrie, and she is evaluating David's speech.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to evaluate David Roberts' speech, Circular Problem. The topic is related to all of us. I'm sure we all enjoy the speech. And I can really tell that, David, you prepared the speech very well. You look very comfortable and confident. I can tell that. So let's break down more specific point. You're excellent at the quality of sound. We are on Zoom. This is an online meeting. The quality of sound is very important. It's a critical online meeting. You used good headphone with a microphone. That's the reason the quality of not very good. Because you use it, you sounded clear and your enunciation was very good as well. English is not my native language. It was very, very helpful to understand. Thank you. Second part I'd like to share is gesture and the body language, including eye contact, were very fun. Used entire body, not just the hands or eyes, but even head, neck, shoulder, upper body, fingers, everything. Your presentation became three-dimensional. That was important because we have only small, the screen here. It's more fun to me. As a result, we never, ever, none of us get tired. None of us get bored. Thank you so much. And one more thing, your challenge. It's not really challenge. It was very good presentation, but I'd like to make a suggestion. One suggestion. As long as you're good gesture, body language, stand up. And even more fun to me, to all of us. Yes, thank you. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Carrie. At this time, we'll have the timers report with Bethany.
Okay, looking at the times for everyone for Wes's first speech, or Wes's speech, it was 10 minutes and 43 seconds. For David's speech, his was 6 minutes and 47 seconds. For the table topics, Wes came in with 54 seconds for his. Tamara's was 1 minute and 24 seconds. Caleb's was 1 minute and 10 seconds. Olivia, yours was 1 minute and 16 seconds. Maurice, your speech, or actually your table topic, was 2 minutes and 28 seconds. Or sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Not the table topic, but the evaluation was 2 minutes and 28 seconds. And for Carrie, yours was 1 minute and 27 seconds.
Thank you, Bethany. And at this time, we'll have the grammarian all counters report with Caleb.
Thank you, Maurice. For my grammarian and all counter report, I was listening for uses of the word trope, which I know for a fact I heard Olivia use it once, and I used it once in my table topics, but I don't believe I heard it any other time. Please someone correct me if I'm wrong. And as far as misuses of the English language or use of filler words, I didn't hear any tonight, which was good. And I didn't hear any in the prepared speeches. And if I did miss one of those, please tell me. But that is my report for this evening. Back to you, Maurice. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Caleb. For the general evaluation of the meeting as a whole, we started around 6:49 or 6:50. And then once we got started there, the meeting seemed to have gone smooth from then on. And I enjoyed Wes's speech and I enjoyed David's speech and the table topics subject, and how those who volunteered to do their table topics, how they presented or how they answered that question on each table topic. So overall, the meeting went smoothly. And I will relinquish the lectern at this time back to the Toastmaster.
All right, thank you, Maurice, for your general evaluation and everyone for their evaluations as well. And I don't think we have, let's see, the time is 7:39, so we're a few minutes shy of 7:45, but I think unless we have any awards, which I don't think we do, and we don't have an education overview tonight. So I will relinquish the lectern back to you, Maurice, our president.
All right, thank you, Olivia. All right, hey, Mr. Lackey, do you have any words as Division B Director?
Thank you, thank you. Hi, everybody. It's me, Dana Lackey. You can't see me because I'm driving, but I am Division B's Director, and I hope y'all can hear me okay.
Yes.
We don't actually have to officially do director's visits, but since I was invited, I wanted to come by and say hello and to remind y'all that there is going to be a hybrid. One of the major things about tonight was coaching. There is a hybrid mentoring session put on by the leader of Region 8, or a leader in Region 8, a region representative who will be here in Birmingham. The event will be attendable in person and online, and I believe it has been scheduled for 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. November 5th. Yes, that's a Saturday. Yes, it's a game day. But Alabama and Auburn play late that night, so that shouldn't be an issue. Their kickoffs are 6 and 6:30 respectively. And UAB plays at 2:30, so none of those should get in the way. And if you want to find out how to be a better Toastmasters mentor, I suggest at least giving that a listen or attending in person or online. I'm sure you will get more details through your club as the event approaches. Does anybody else have anything to add about that event? I'll turn it over.
All right, thank you, Dana.